Happy morning, children. Today we will discuss square, properties of square. The definition says, if all sides and all angles of a quadrilateral are congruent, it is called a square. Now, all sides should be congruent and all angles should be congruent. And you have already studied the properties of square right in 5th standard. Each angle of a square is also a right angle. So all angles are congruent. These are the two main properties of a square. So here the main definition I have written, all the sides and all angles of a quadrilateral are congruent. It is called a square. So the first property, all the sides of a square are congruent, means the measures of the lengths of all the sides are equal. That is, length of AB is equal to length of BC, and length of BC is equal to length of CD, length of CD is equal to length of AD. So we can write like this: length of AB is equal to length of BC is equal to length of CD is equal to length of AD. So here all angles of a square are congruent. Each angle is a right angle. So here we can write like this: measure of angle B is 90 degree, measure of angle A is 90 degree, measure of angle D is 90 degree, and measure of angle C is 90 degree. So here a very important property. The next property, diagonals of a square are congruent. It means, see here, AC is the diagonal, see, joining the opposite vertices. A is opposite to C and vertex B is opposite to vertex D. So the diagonals are formed like this. So this diagonal AC is congruent to diagonal BD. This is a very important property of a square. So we can write like this. When we are writing congruent, we can write diagonal AC is congruent to diagonal BD. And in short, we can write like this: length of AC is equal to length of BD. Like this we can write when we are solving examples. The next property, diagonals of square bisect each other. Now bisect each other means what? Here if you see these two diagonals, they are intersecting at point M. So length of AM will be equal to length of MC and length of BM will be equal to length of MD. This is the meaning of bisecting each other. And if you see these two diagonals, they are congruent to each other. So length of AM is equal to length of MC will be half of length of AC. Same way, length of BM is equal to length of MD. They both will be half of BD. But AC is congruent to BD. That's what we have discussed. Diagonals of a square are congruent. So if length of, say, diagonal BD is, say, 6 centimeter. So length of diagonal AC will also be 6 centimeter. And they both are half of AC. So AM will be 3 centimeter. MC will be 3 centimeter. So BM will be 3 centimeter. MD will also be 3 centimeter because AC is congruent to BD. So BD will also be 6 centimeter. So with effect, suppose if I'll show it like this, length of AM will be equal to length of MC and length of BM is equal to length of MD. So actually this BM will be equal to MD, will be equal to AM, will be equal to MC. This point you have to understand. So we will write diagonals of a square bisect each other means what? Length of AM will be equal to length of MC will be equal to half of length of AC. Then length of BM is equal to length of MD will be equal to half of length of BD. But length of AC, as I said, length of AC is equal to length of BD. So they all are going to be congruent. This point you should understand. So we can write, see, like this we can write. Length of AC is equal to length of BD. So half of length of AC will also be equal to half of length of BD. So half of length of AC will be equal to half of length of BD. But who are the half of AC and BD? See, for length of AC, AM is half of AC and MC is half of AC. So with effect, and BM and MD, they are half of BD. So what we can write? Length of AM is equal to length of MC. These two, they are half of this. But because AC is equal to BD, half of AC will be equal to half of BD. So AM is equal to length of MC. And half of BD is BM and MD. So I'll write here, length of BM is equal to length of MD. This way you should understand the meaning of diagonals of a square bisect each other. The next very important property of a square is that the diagonals AC and BD, they are intersecting at point M. At point M, diagonals of a square, they are perpendicular to each other. So at point M, the angles formed will be right angles. So at point M, you will have all 90-degree angles. Okay. So we can write here, see, diagonals of a square, they are perpendicular to each other. Diagonals of a square are perpendicular to each other. So we will write measure of angle AMB is equal to measure of angle AMD is equal to measure of angle BMC is equal to measure of angle CMD is equal to 90 degree. So this point you should remember very well. Next very important property, diagonals of a square bisect opposite angles. You know the meaning of bisect opposite angles? That here, if you see the figure, we have been given the square, and here diagonal AC we will take. This is the diagonal AC, and diagonal AC is bisecting the opposite angles. Now, see, BAD is one angle. Now afterwards I had drawn this diagonal. When I was explaining, you saw, first I didn't draw the diagonal. First only square I explained you all the sides and right angle. Afterwards, when I have completed drawing the diagonal, you can see that angle BAD is divided into two angles, angle BAC and angle CAD. Two angles are formed when I am drawing the diagonal. So this angle BAD, this diagonal is bisecting the angle BAD. It means the angle BAC and angle CAD, they are congruent. What does a bisector does? It divides the angle into two equal parts, and measure of angle BAD is 90. So measure of angle BAC will be 45 and measure of angle CAD will be 45. Same way, this diagonal AC is bisecting the angle BCD. Now measure of angle BCD is 90. Now this becomes the bisector. Because of this bisector, angle BCD is divided into two equal parts. And which are those two equal angles? Angle BCA and angle ACD. And as this angle, total measure of this angle is 90. So if it is divided into two equal parts, each angle will measure 45 degree. Angle BCA will be 45 and angle ACD will be 45. So I have written here, as you can see, diagonals of a square bisect opposite angle. So diagonal AC bisects angle BAD and angle BCD. So measure of angle BAC is equal to measure of angle CAD. That's what I explained y'all. And measure of angle BCA is equal to measure of angle ACD. And what will be the measure of these angles? It will be, for a square it will be 45 degree. Just now I explained y'all the meaning. So this will be 45 degree and this will also be 45 degree. Same way, diagonal BD bisects angle ABC and ADC, which I explained y'all. So here, in the same way, if you look at it, BD, you can understand it very easily. This diagonal BD bisects the opposite angles. Opposite angles we have discussed. Angle ABC is opposite to angle ADC. So it is bisecting the opposite angle. So ABC, if I take, this is my diagonal BD, angle ABD will be equal to angle CBD. Both these two angles will be congruent because BD is the bisector. Bisector divides the angle into two equal parts. Same way, BD is the diagonal. Angle ADC is this angle. This bisector BD, which is the diagonal, is dividing angle ADC into two equal parts. That is angle ADB and angle BDC. The total measure of angle ADC is 90. So these two will be 45 degrees. So same way here I have done. Diagonal BD bisects angle ABC and angle ADC. So what will be the measure of each angle? This will be 45 degree. ABD is equal to CBD, which I explained you all, and ADB is equal to BDC, that is 45 degree. So if you look at overall, if you see all these angles, they are congruent. So in one line, all 8 angles you mention and write they are 45 degree. So in one line you can mention all the angles and write is equal to 45 degree. These were the main properties of square.